Hey everybody, welcome to a new episode of Freedom Fridays. My name is Braden Freeman, and today's episode will be titled The Real Meaning of Financial Freedom. Basically, what financial freedom looks like beyond just getting rich. So, I went through and I created five different bullet points that I wanted to make, and I divided it into the levels of financial freedom that I want to discuss, right? So, I wanted to define what does it mean just beyond getting rich. It's about choices, security, and control, right? So, financial freedom doesn't mean you will never work again. It just means you work how you want to, when you want to, not because you have to. So, the five different levels of financial freedom that I came up with are survival, stability, flexibility, independence, and abundance. Okay, so breaking down the first step, survival. I broke survival down into living paycheck to paycheck. Income barely covers basic needs such as food, shelter, utilities, and transportation. High debt or no savings, and then constant stress about money, right? So if we're in survival mode of financial freedom, we're in very bad shape. We're at the bottom of the bottom. We're literally living paycheck to paycheck, waiting on the next paycheck because we don't have money or we spent it all because we're in debt. We're spending money that we didn't have, or we're just blowing our money on anything. The next level of financial freedom is stability. So that would be meaning that my bills are paid constantly on time. I have a small emergency fund. My debt is under control. Not saying that I don't have debt, or not saying I'm at the minimum, but I'm able to pay back what I owe. I don't borrow, or I'm not spending anything that I don't have. And I have less money stress, but little flexibility. So that would be okay, I have a job, I'm making money, and I'm trying to budget, but I'm not really doing too good at it. I'm just able to pay back what I'm using, right? The third step is flexibility. So flexibility can be having a savings that can cover several months of expenses. So if something happens, I have savings that'll cover me up to 1 to 3 months. For example, if I get laid off from my job, or if I cannot find a job and different things of that nature happen, where I have money saved up to where I can go 1 to 3 months until I'm able to find me a new job. So another level to this is discretionary income available. So I can have monies to where if I want to travel or go somewhere, I can be able to go there and not have to check my bank account and not have to worry about, oh, this is going to put me in debt. This is going to put me behind. I'm going to have to pay um, extra money. I'm going to have to pay interest, right, on the debt, on the money that I'm spending, right? My debt is low, or I don't have any debt at all, and I'm able to make life choices without fear. So how many of us go to the mall or go out of town and we want to buy things, we see things we like? I'm able to buy those things without having to worry about um, checking my bank account. I don't have to worry about waiting till the next paycheck come. I can just buy it, and I have a free conscience, a free clear mind that I'm still gonna be okay. I can buy it twice. So a rule that was commonly used when I was growing up is that if you can't buy it twice, I believe, maybe three times. If you can't buy it twice, you shouldn't buy it at all, right? So I'm able to know that I can buy this twice, I can buy this three times, four times, 5x, right? And I'm still comfortable because I know I have the money for it. The next level will be independence. So independence will be that I have investments, I have passive income that can cover basic living expenses. Work becomes optional. Freedom to choose career projects or lifestyle without depending solely on a paycheck, often tied to lean financial independence. So once I hit the independence level, I have a constant cash flow coming in. I have investments that are making me money, and work becomes optional to where I don't necessarily have to work a 9 to 5, but I can if I want to, right? I'm already making my own money. My money is making me money, right? Um, I don't have to go work a specific job or go do have a boss. I can be my own entrepreneur, right? I can work for myself. I can have my own set schedule. I'm able to make my own money, generate my own revenue, without having to be under another person or another contract or law, right? Independence is a good level to be at. That's where a lot of middle class people are, is at the independence level, to where their investments are making them money. They have a good steady paying job, and they don't really have to work, but they can work. And so the next level would be abundance, right? So I consider abundance passive income exceeds lifestyle needs and desires, the ability to give generously, invest in causes, and pursue passions. Time and money are no longer barriers. True financial freedom choices are driven by purpose, not necessity. So when I think of abundance, I think of people as Warren Buffett, right? Warren Buffett, he's famous for a quote that he says that the first step to making money is to never lose any. And the second step is to never forget rule number one. Well, I believe that he was right. The first step to making money is to never lose any. And then the second is to get rid of it, which I'm going to get more in depth as I go into this video. But Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, Michael Saylor, people of this stature, they have passive incomes. They have people working for them, right? So when we talk about wealth and being wealthy, I think that there's 5 levels to financial freedom, correct, right? I feel that there are 2 steps to becoming wealthy, and wealthy by yourself and wealthy by others, right? So wealthy by yourself would be you being pre-rich. So an example of being wealthy by yourself, entrepreneurship, coming up with ideas, different things you want to pursue in life, your passions, things you create, creativity, um, starting your own business, starting your own brand. Those are things I consider as pre-wealth, right? Because if you look at a lot of people that we look up to, we admire in life, and you ask them like, how did they get to where they at? They always say, well, it was a struggle making my first million, right? 10 million was easier. 100 million was really easy, right? And so the first million, that's your pre-rich, right? That's the first step of being wealthy. The second step, wealth by others, is the 10 million, the 100 million, right? So we've all had people where we've seen people have dreams or ideas, and a lot of people shoot them down and not believe in them. And then they turn around to blow up, and they become unimaginably wealthy, right? Just having lots of money or what we consider wealth. And so that second step, right? The first step of pre-wealth is hard, right? Because we're doing it by ourselves, right? I'm having to get this million by myself. Once other people see I got $1 million, once other people see I got my business, my ideas, it wasn't so crazy or wasn't so far-fetched as they thought. Once they see that, then you have the people on the 10 million ramp where it's like, okay, let me find out what he's doing. They're not fully invested, but they're more committed than they were before you got that 1 million, right? Those are the people that get you to 10 million. Once you get to 10 million, everybody wants to follow you, right? Everybody's gonna, oh my gosh, he did this, I can do that. Everybody's gonna want to do what you did, right? That's wealth by others, right? Those are the people that are gonna get you wealthy because they're gonna be under you. Now you're teaching them what you had to do, your ways. They're having to follow you, learn from you, listen to you, right? That's creating your own brand. That's creating your own business. Now you have people that work for you where you don't have to work anymore. Your time and energy is saved, right? Those are abundant people, right? People I look at as far as Michael Saylor, Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, Bill Gates. Those are abundance people. And so in order to get there, right, we have to first have a vision, a goal, right? We want to be able to become wealthy, but we have to have steps put in place to where we're able to achieve those things. So I think the first thing that we should do is ask ourselves, what does financial freedom look for me right now, right? Am I at the first level or am I at abundance, right? Am I surviving, right? Am I being stable? Am I being flexible? Am I being independent? Or am I being abundance? And once we identify that within ourselves of where we're at, I think the next thing we need to do is, okay, how do I get to the next level? So if I'm survival mode, how do I get to stability? If I'm stability, how do I get to flexibility? If I'm flexibility, how do I get to independence? If I'm independence, how do I get to abundance? Because abundance is where we all want to be, right? We all want to have that abundant amount of money. So when we're looking at building our wealth, we have to understand, okay, assets. What do I have that somebody else doesn't have, right? What do I have that's finite? What do I have that is a high stock to low flow ratio compared to being a low stock to high flow ratio? I want things that are a low flow. I do not want things that are a high flow, right? What do I have that I can liquidate that's easy, accessible for me to use, right? And that's commonly used amongst people that's valuable. Those are also things that make me wealthy, not just the amount of money I make. I can make a lot of money in a year and not be wealthy compared to making not so much money, knowing how to use my money, knowing how to store my money. Because at the end of the day, we have to realize money is something that we exchange for our time and effort, right? So if I'm exchanging my time and effort for money, I want my money to be able to grow to where eventually on the back end I can exchange my money for time and effort. I don't want to always be using my time and effort to make money and I'm not able to be able to grow that money to where I can eventually exchange it for my time and effort. That's the goal of becoming wealthy, right? We want to be able to earn money, earn a passive income to where I don't have to work 60 years. I don't have to work 50 years, right? I'm able to make enough money and store my money in the right places and store it the right way to where I can eventually exchange my money for more time and effort than I originally put in. So that's what I'm going to challenge everybody in this video to think about. Where am I at on the 5 levels of financial freedom, right? Am I survival mode? Am I stability, right? Am I flexibility? Am I independent? Am I in abundance, right? Whatever level I'm at, how can I get to the next level, right? The counterpart of that argument, remember, we earn our wealth, right? You become wealthy by your assets, not your income, right? So what assets do I own, right? That's another thing we need to look at. We can't just throw our money in the US dollar and think that we're going to be good, right? We need to store our money in hard assets that are going to continue to grow, because a lot of people don't understand that the US dollar is a failing item, right? We all price our money and our wealth in US dollars, but we have to understand that the US dollar isn't even the number one asset in the world, right? So if I'm pricing something in an asset that's not number one, what does that price against the number one asset, right? If I'm pricing everything in US dollars, what is the US dollar being priced in against the number one asset in the world, right? And we're going to talk about that more and more as we get into these videos. But we have to understand wealth, where we're putting our money at, assets, how we're looking at storing our value. So I got into this this conversation a day or two ago, and there was an article where this guy was saying that he wants to take a $200,000 investment and earn $10,000 annually. And so the other guy in the argument was saying that that was stupid, that was dumb, right? And I agree with him, because when we look at it, you're telling me that you have $200,000 you wish to invest, and you want to gain $10,000 annually. So if we do quick math, $10,000 out of $200,000, that's a 5% gain. So you're telling me you want to gain 5% annually per year, right? Cool. So when we look at that, it's like, oh, he's gaining $10,000 off $200,000. When we look at it from a number standpoint, it look good. But when we break down the decimals and get into percentages, that's a 5% gain. Did you know that this year to date alone, is September right now, from January to September, the US dollar has lost 10.5% of its purchasing power. So if I'm gaining 5%, but the purchasing power of the dollar is down 10%, I just lost double my purchasing power. Yeah, I got an extra $10,000, but I can't buy what I could buy a year ago with that $10,000, right? So if I get $10,000 this year, I want to still be able to buy, if a car costs me $10,000, next year, I still want to be able to buy that same car with $10,000. I don't want to be able to have to pay $20,000, $30,000 to buy a car. It should be the same price for me, right? That's just something else I wanted to put out there. Another way to look at money, to look at wealth. It's interesting once you get more in depth with it, but like I said, we're gonna get more in depth with things of that nature. It's just funny because I was recently indulged in that conversation, and I thought, well, that'll be a good example when we're talking about wealth, because another part of it, people look at wealth as like, oh, I gained X amount of dollars, right? But it's like, what can I buy with those X amount of dollars? Remember the last video I talked about inflation, currencies, different things of that nature. We have to understand that, okay, saving money is one thing, to become wealthy. Saving money to purchase assets is one thing, but the asset appreciation rate is completely different. It's baby steps, right? We want to save money to be able to have for later, but I need that money to be able to grow while it's waiting to be spent later. And so, like I said, we'll get into that into further videos. But I think today I'm going to stop off here. It's 11:50 p.m. It's almost Friday. It's Thursday, September the 11th. It's almost Friday. I know I'm recording at night. I still got homework and other things to do. But let me know in the comments. So I messed up in the first video I posted. I had the comments off. I didn't even know. But I eventually turned it on. So I'm going to try to make sure that the comments are on for this video. Yeah, drop a comment, like, subscribe, share. Let me know what you like, dislike, things you want to hear, things you don't want to hear, agreement, disagreement. I'll read it all. Just drop it in the comment box. And yeah, I think we'll just end there for today.